So we're in October, right?
Right.
So I made 3 tier lists, and I want you to choose one of them to start now. I have the
Okay.
first one about slasher movies, slasher characters, killers. The second one is about Scream, and the third one is about Final Girls.
I think I want to start with the slash, which is more, it's kind of a broader theme.
All right, first one we have Chucky from Childhood.
Are you not going to explain the categories for me?
Yeah,
It's different. This is a spooky tier list.
yeah, spooky. S for scared as shit. A for B for better than nothing. C for come on, man. And D for do you know what you're doing?
Okay.
All right, first one we have Chucky from Child's Play.
I've never seen any of the Child's Play movies. When I was younger, I used to think Chucky was really scary, but now that I look at it, and now that I know that most of the films are mostly comedy, I don't know, I don't take it so seriously.
Yeah, they are kind of comedy and horror. Child's Play I think has more horror than comedy, but you know, nowadays it's not as scary as it used to be. But I tell you that Chucky is scary as hell with this face. Not the first one that is normal, but this one I think it's really disturbing.
I mean, if it were in real life and like this creepy ass doll was following me and trying to kill me, I would be really scared, of course. But I think in the movie, it's not that scary. I mean, I think there are other killers that are much more scary.
Scarier.
Yes, scarier. English.
All right, so
Okay, so I think I'm going with Come On Man. Like, it's not the worst, but it's not good either.
all right. Do you remember the next one? We watched this movie together.
Yeah, Candyman. I really like that movie, and I think he's one of the killers with like one of the most interesting stories that we've seen. Like,
Yeah, I agree.
like his backstory is really interesting. I think he's really scary too, and his movie has kind of a more realistic tone which I really like, but it's also kind of supernatural still.
Yeah.
So I think I'm going with A for I think he's scary, not like the scariest, but I think he's really scary.
And I remember clearly the voice of the actor.
Yeah,
Because it's really low.
yeah, like a really deep voice,
Yeah.
right?
And I really like the Candyman. Even though the movie is, the sequels are not that good, I
Yeah.
think the first one and the latest one.
The
are
remake, right?
Not the remake,
It's a sequel?
yeah, it's a sequel to the first one.
Oh,
just
yeah,
as Halloween did the new formula.
Yeah, true.
The next one is Jigsaw from Saw.
Okay.
Do you remember Jigsaw?
I remember, but I've never seen any of the Saw movies. But like this doll is really famous, and I kind of know, I think the mythology a little bit better than Chucky. I think the idea behind Saw is really scary. Like it's not something that could happen in real life, but at the same time it could, because it's all based in like kidnapping people and torturing them. It's not anything supernatural, which makes it more scarier. But I think the doll is a bit funny with this little bicycle.
Yeah, I think this Jigsaw is funnier than Chucky's.
Yeah.
There are actually 2 characters that are really famous among the Saw community. There's the Jigsaw doll and
Pig.
the pig.
Yeah, the pig, right?
And the pig is in Dead by Daylight as
I
one of
think
the
the
killers.
pig, she's much scarier. She's scarier than this Jigsaw, I think.
The doll.
Yeah, the doll. Yeah, but I think I'm going with the same category as Chucky, because it's still a bit scary.
Yeah, the doll is like an avatar for Jigsaw. It's not the main killer. This doll by itself isn't gonna kill you.
Yeah, but I mean, the idea behind it, it's kind of scary.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think I'm going to put it in the same category as Chucky.
And the next one is Pamela Voorhees from Friday the 13th.
I hate Friday the 13th so much. People in the comments, please don't kill me, but I really don't like any of the movies that we watched from Friday the 13th, and we watched so many of them.
Because there are so many of them.
Yeah, but I think the idea for Mrs. Voorhees is really smart because, I don't know, maybe for people who watched it at the time, it was kind of surprising, but I don't think it's as surprising as it is for us because I think right now we all know that Jason is the killer throughout the franchise, but for me it was kind of a surprise seeing that he wasn't the killer in the first movie. And I think, I don't know, I feel really bad for her because like her son died and she's really tormented by that. She feels really bad. I think it's a really sad backstory.
I think it's, from all of this list, is the most believable killer.
Yeah, me too.
So, where are you gonna put her?
I think in the top tier because
It's too real.
yeah, it's too real, which makes it scarier, and also it's a bit elaborated, I think,
Yeah.
than some other killers.
And the next one, of course, is Jason Voorhees, son of Pamela Voorhees.
Okay, so I don't take him seriously because I'm going to talk about some other killer that's similar to that on some other time on this tier list, but I really don't like when the killers are basically supernatural beings. Like they start human, but then throughout the franchise they become like super strong to the point that you can't believe it anymore. They come back to life so many times, you know. I really don't like that. For me, that's really funny.
I think Jason is the best example of how not to continue evolving your character.
Yeah.
It's to the point that it's not just a killer, as you said, it's a supernatural being. Jason goes to hell and comes back. Jason is now a virus. Jason is now upgraded by cyber prosthetics and
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Yeah, I really don't like that. I'm going to put him in the last category because of that. I don't like the movies. I think he is not like it's totally not believable, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of ridiculous. So, yeah, the last category definitely.
All right, so, and how about Freddy Krueger?
I think he's really scary.
You mean visually?
Visually, he's scary. His background story is also really scary because
It's
he's a
disturbing, right?
yeah, it's disturbing. Like he's a pedophile, and which is scary enough. But also, I think the fact that the parents go after him and burn him, and it's all really gruesome, you know. And I think, like, I'm not sure. I think that the execution of the movies in his franchise sometimes are not that good, but the idea is so good. Like, you're in a dream world. You can literally do anything, and being able to not being able to sleep for me is really scary because if I don't take my naps, I'm just dead. Like I really can't function. I couldn't go through what the kids in these movies go through.
And it's a place you cannot hide.
Yeah.
And involuntarily, you're going to sleep. And
Yeah.
Freddy is going to be there. Like a better version, I think, of, and a more gruesome version of the killer from It Follows.
Yeah, and he can do like literally anything. He controls everything in the dream world. He is really like a god in that sense.
Yeah, a god.
But I don't think it's like it's not similar to Jason, you know, because I think for him it works because it was established from the beginning.
Yeah.
And it's his whole concept. While with Jason, it's something that was developed throughout the movies, and I think it got kind of ridiculous. So I think I would put him in the first category. He's really scary. I would die in the first second because I just can't, like, not sleep. Sleep is too important to me.
Okay, the next one is Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
I really don't like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. However, I think that the characters, all of the characters from the family,
All the killers.
yeah,
right?
all the killers, they're all really scary. They're really disturbing. They make me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And Leatherface he's like, I find him really scary because I really can't understand him. He doesn't seem like a person. He seems like a creature, almost like an animal, something like that.
I think the directors treated him like that,
Yeah.
especially in the first movie. Then there's the sequel, and I think it's more sad. And in the game, there's a new killer that is
Yeah.
the girl. But I think Leatherface 2 stands up as the name of the franchise.
Yeah,
and the main
definitely.
Leatherface of the franchise.
Yeah, I think I'm going to put him in the second category. I don't think he's as scary as these two, but he's definitely really scary.
Alright, so the next one is Michael Myers from Halloween.
He was the other one that I was talking about because I really love Halloween, but throughout the franchise, I think Michael Myers becomes kind of a joke. He becomes this godlike thing. There is literally a cult for him, which I think.
We don't talk about this movie.
Yeah, but I think it's so weak. Like it really makes him less scary for me. But I think on the first two movies and on the new ones, he is really scary because he's really strong, but he's more human. As a woman, I don't know. For me, it's a real fear of mine of being stalked on the street or someone being like looking at me in a weird way, and he does a lot of that, especially on the first movie.
In the first movie, yeah. I think Halloween 1 is my favorite slasher movie. It's not my favorite franchise because it derails so fast.
Yeah.
But in the first one, and in the 2018, I believe, it's the best version, the two best versions of Michael Myers.
Yeah.
And Laurie is also a great final girl and a great character.
Yeah, I think she's my favorite final girl, because she's the most memorable for me.
But let's not...
Okay.
Let's not get ahead of ourselves. So, Michael Myers.
Yeah,
Where do you put him?
I think the second category too. Like, considering the whole franchise, I think the second category. If it were just like the first movie, the first category, I think.
Okay. The next one is the Pinhead from Hellraiser. Cenobite.
I don't know, he's really disturbing. I mean, I don't even know his pronouns. It's him or they?
I think it's they, but in the short story,
It's
I
she, right?
think it's implied it's a female,
Yeah.
but I think they is the best way to describe.
Okay, so I'm going to use they. I think they're really scary. They make me really uncomfortable. And what they do, like, not just the Cenobite, but the other creature that I don't know the name, it's really gruesome. Like, they really, literally tear the person apart.
Yeah.
It's really disgusting. But at the same time, like, they only attack you and they only do the things they do if you allow them to.
Yeah, the Cenobites are not actually evil. They're
Yeah.
not doing that because they want to hurt you or anything like that. They are kind of neutral.
Yeah,
And for them, what they do is a form of pleasure.
yeah,
So,
that's true.
Yeah, I think they are not scary. They are scary, but not in the way that the traditional killers or slashers or...
Yeah, I think they're kind of like nature. They're not good, but they're not bad. They're just like doing their own thing.
Yeah.
And it's just really different from what we're used to and what the human body can do.
Yes.
But yeah, like I said, I would never put myself in that situation, so the mid category.
The next one is the Ghostface from Scream TV series.
Oh,
And in the TV series, there are 3 Ghostfaces.
Three.
2 in the first season and 1 in the second season, right?
No, it's 1 in the first season, 1 in the second season, but then I think it's implied there is another one
Yeah,
that
that's right.
at the end.
And there's
And we
the,
never know who it is.
and there's the 3rd season that is a reboot
Yeah,
with other killers, but we're considering the first 2 seasons.
okay, just the first 2 seasons and that special that they went to the island.
That special doesn't count.
Okay, if I'm going to be honest, I think this Ghostface is not as scary as the Ghostfaces from the movie franchise. I don't find them.
It's a podcaster.
Yeah, like it's really not that scary. And I don't know, because I watched the TV show before I watched the movies, and I think I was much more involved with the characters, like the teenagers, when I was watching the TV show than with the killer and trying to figure out who it is. And so, I don't know, I think it's definitely less scary. Maybe on the last category.
Now that we already talked about this Ghostface, let's go to the original Ghostface.
Okay, so the original Ghostface, I am going to talk about
Billy and Stu.
Yeah, Billy and Stu, because first of all, for me, they're the most memorable, and also there are too many ghost faces to consider.
There are 12 ghost faces.
Yeah, I can't really talk about it like I talked about Michael Myers or Jason, because although they change throughout the franchise, they're literally different people.
Yeah.
But I think Stu and Billy, they are scary because they're like literally in Sydney's friend group. Billy was her boyfriend, and he was not just like doing all of that psychological torture and killing people. He was a shitty boyfriend. Like, she was dealing with so many bad things and so many emotional baggage, and he just didn't care. He just wanted to have sex with her, and that was it. I think that, and Stu makes me uncomfortable. He's like really crazy.
I think Stu makes me more uncomfortable than Billy, because Stu, it's like unhinged.
Yeah, you never know what he's going to make.
Billy kind of has a plan and convinces Stu, but Stu is like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes just to be the survivor of this story.
Yeah.
And being the survivor means being one of the killers.
Yeah.
And they manipulate Stu, even kills his own girlfriend.
Yeah.
At the scene in the garage.
And that scene is really, it was really strong. I think it was really well made, and it's the first kill that I remember when I think about the first movie. I think I'm going to put on the top category, like, all of these things could happen, and not knowing who it is really scary.
Yes. And you want to guess, you want to know who are the killers and who is the killer, and then you discover there's more than one if you're watching for the first time or haven't heard about the movie. Okay, so the last one is one that is based on a book. That is The Fisherman from I Know What You Did Last Summer.
I don't think he's scary. Like,
me neither.
He's just killing people because of a really specific situation that happened, and only because the characters didn't call the police. I think if they did call the police and if they did do the right thing, they wouldn't be in that situation.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, I've never been on a hit and run situation, so I don't know what goes through the person's mind. It must be really scary, but they definitely didn't do the right thing, and the fisherman wouldn't be after them if they had called the police, probably.
I think the motivation in the book, it's better, but the execution in the movie, it's better than the book, because the book is not like a slasher. And when I read the book, I went with the wrong expectation.
Yeah, me too. I don't really like the book. And if I'm being totally honest, like, I remember when I watched the movie, I was like, yeah, it's a good movie, like, okay. But I honestly can't remember a single death.
I remember one death, that is the guy, the other fisherman, that is played by the guy that does The Big Bang Theory, that I don't remember his name.
Oh,
one kill that I remember.
I remember that he dies, but I don't remember what happens to him. Like, it just wasn't important in my head, like.
And the worst part is, I Know What You Did Last Summer. It's memorable for some people, but it's not as high as most of the slashers.
Yeah.
And even the TV series that wants to be something else, a different story, just inspired by the idea and the concept, it's terrible.
Yeah, it's really bad. It's one of the worst TV shows I've ever seen, I think.
Yeah.
And the resolution, oh my god, it's horrible.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to put him in the last category, honestly. He's not that scary.
Alright, so what did you think?
I liked it. I like talking about slasher movies. I really like horror movies, and I'm excited to get to the other tests, to the other tier lists.
We still have part 2 and part 3.
Subscribe.